Question 1. A project team is consistently missing their iteration goals, and the product owner often introduces significant scope changes mid-iteration, causing disruption. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take to address this situation? A. Escalate the issue to senior management to enforce scope freeze rules on the product owner. B. Coach the product owner on the importance of stable iteration goals and the impact of mid-iteration scope creep. C. Facilitate a meeting between the team and the product owner to renegotiate the iteration scope more frequently. D. Implement a strict change control process for all future scope changes during an iteration. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on the importance of stable iteration goals and the impact of mid-iteration scope creep. The Scrum Master acts as a servant leader and coach, not a manager or enforcer. When a product owner frequently changes scope mid-iteration, it disrupts the team's focus and ability to achieve their sprint goal, directly impacting predictability and flow. The most effective approach for the Scrum Master is to coach the product owner, explaining the Agile principle of stable iteration goals and how mid-iteration changes hinder the team's ability to deliver value and learn effectively. For instance, the Scrum Master might show data on how changes lead to unfinished work or reduced quality, helping the product owner understand the negative impact on the team's productivity and morale. Remember, the Scrum Master removes impediments and coaches individuals and the organization on Scrum practices. Question 2. During a sprint review, stakeholders express concern that the product increment, while functional, lacks critical features needed for market launch, despite the team completing all sprint backlog items. What is the most likely underlying cause of this issue? A. The team's velocity is too low, indicating a need for more resources. B. The product owner has not effectively prioritized the product backlog to reflect market needs. C. The definition of done is too lax, allowing incomplete features to be considered done. D. The sprint planning meeting did not adequately break down user stories into tasks. Answer: B. The product owner has not effectively prioritized the product backlog to reflect market needs. The product owner is solely responsible for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team and for managing the product backlog. If the increment, though done, lacks critical features for market launch, it indicates that the most valuable items were not at the top of the product backlog for the team to select during sprint planning. For example, if a team delivers a fully functional login system but fails to include core e-commerce features needed for sales, it points to a prioritization issue. This role requires understanding customer needs, market trends, and business value to ensure the team is always working on the most important items. Prioritization is a continuous effort, and the product owner must continuously refine the product backlog to reflect changing realities and ensure maximum value delivery. Question 3. A cross-functional Agile team has been stable for several months, consistently delivering working software, but their velocity has stagnated, and team members report feeling unmotivated by repetitive tasks. What Agile ceremony or activity is specifically designed to address such internal team process improvements and morale issues? A. Sprint review. B. Daily Scrum. C. Sprint retrospective. D. Product backlog refinement. Answer: C. Sprint retrospective. The sprint retrospective is a formal opportunity at the end of each sprint for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. This includes addressing process issues, tools, team dynamics, and ways to enhance efficiency and satisfaction, such as finding ways to introduce variety or streamline repetitive work. For example, if a team feels bogged down by manual testing, they might decide in the retrospective to explore automation tools or pair programming to share knowledge and reduce boredom. Its purpose is continuous improvement of how the team works together, making it the perfect forum to discuss stagnation and motivation. Question 4. A large organization is transitioning to Agile. During a release planning session, senior management insists on fixed scope and fixed price for a major new product increment, while the Agile team emphasizes adaptive planning and flexibility. Which Agile contract type is most suitable to reconcile these conflicting perspectives and promote collaboration? A. Fixed price, fixed scope contract. B. Time and materials contract. C. Target cost with fee, T&M with a cap. D. Money for nothing, changes for free contract. Answer: D. Money for nothing, changes for free contract. The money for nothing, changes for free contract is specifically designed for Agile projects, offering a balance between vendor flexibility and client control, and is ideal for reconciling fixed price/scope demands with Agile flexibility. It allows the client to terminate the contract early, money for nothing, if they decide the remaining features aren't worth the cost, or to request changes to remaining scope, changes for free, within the overall budget. This type of contract promotes collaboration because it encourages both parties to focus on value delivery and adapt to evolving needs rather than strict adherence to an initial, potentially outdated, plan. It provides a mechanism for adaptation while maintaining a budget ceiling, fostering trust and shared risk in Agile endeavors. Question 5. A project team is using Kanban to manage their workflow. They notice a significant buildup of work in the testing column, while the development column is often idle. What is the most effective Kanban principle or practice to address this bottleneck? A. Limit work in progress, WIP, for the development column. B. Increase the capacity of the testing team by adding more testers. C. Visualize the workflow and measure lead time for features. D. Limit work in progress, WIP, for the testing column. Answer: D. Limit work in progress, WIP, for the testing column. Limiting work in progress, WIP, is a core Kanban practice designed to improve flow by preventing bottlenecks and ensuring that work moves smoothly through the system. If work is piling up in testing, it indicates that the rate of work entering that stage exceeds its capacity, creating a bottleneck. By setting a WIP limit on the testing column, the team is forced to pull less new work into development or in progress until the testing bottleneck is cleared, encouraging focus on completing existing work before starting new work. This helps to expose the constraint and allows the team to focus on resolving it, for example, by cross-training developers to assist with testing or swarm on critical testing tasks, ultimately reducing cycle time and improving flow. Question 6. A new team member frequently struggles with independent problem solving, always asking the Scrum Master for direct instructions, even on tasks they should be able to handle. How should the Scrum Master best respond to foster self-organization and empower the team member? A. Provide the direct instructions requested to ensure the task gets done quickly. B. Reassign the task to a more experienced team member to avoid delays. C. Coach the team member by asking open-ended questions that guide them to find their own solutions. D. Document the team member's lack of initiative and report it to their functional manager. Answer: C. Coach the team member by asking open-ended questions that guide them to find their own solutions. A Scrum Master acts as a servant leader, focusing on empowering the team and fostering self-organization, rather than acting as a traditional manager. When a team member seeks direct instructions, the most effective approach is to coach them through inquiry, helping them develop their problem-solving skills and confidence. For instance, instead of saying, "Do X," the Scrum Master might ask, "What steps have you considered so far?" or "What resources could you consult to find the answer?" This approach builds the team member's capability to think independently and contributes to a more self-managing team, which is a core tenet of Agile principles. Question 7. A project team is developing a highly innovative product with unclear requirements and a rapidly changing market. Which project life cycle approach would be most suitable to manage this project effectively? A. Predictive life cycle. B. Iterative life cycle. C. Incremental life cycle. D. Agile life cycle. Answer: D. Agile life cycle. An Agile life cycle is highly adaptive and specifically designed for projects with high degrees of uncertainty, complexity, and frequent changes. Unlike predictive, iterative, or incremental cycles in isolation, Agile combines elements of both iterative, doing things repeatedly to improve, and incremental, delivering working components frequently, approaches, emphasizing adaptability, continuous feedback, and rapid response to change. For a project with unclear requirements and a rapidly changing market, an Agile approach, like Scrum or Kanban, allows the team to deliver small, functional increments, gather feedback quickly, and pivot directions as needed, ensuring the product remains relevant and valuable. This flexibility makes it ideal for innovative products where the final solution evolves through continuous learning and adaptation. Question 8. A team is consistently undercommitting during sprint planning, leading to a much higher than expected velocity at the end of sprints, yet stakeholders are still dissatisfied with the pace of overall product delivery. What is the most likely cause of this discrepancy? A. The team is inflating their estimates to create a buffer. B. The product owner is not effectively prioritizing the product backlog. C. The definition of done is too strict, causing team members to work extra hours. D. The team's understanding of done increment value is misaligned with stakeholder expectations. Answer: D. The team's understanding of done increment value is misaligned with stakeholder expectations. While a team might be completing their sprint backlog items, if stakeholders are dissatisfied with the pace of overall product delivery, it suggests a disconnect between what the team considers valuable work and what stakeholders truly need for product progress. The done increment, despite high velocity, might not be delivering the most impactful features from a business perspective. For example, the team might be building internal tools or minor features efficiently, while key user-facing functionalities are not prioritized or delivered. This indicates a misalignment in the definition of done regarding business value or a misunderstanding of what truly constitutes meaningful progress from a stakeholder's perspective, highlighting a need for better collaboration and shared understanding of value. Question 9. During a sprint retrospective, the development team identifies that a specific external dependency often causes delays, impacting their ability to deliver on sprint goals. What is the best course of action for the Scrum Master? A. Negotiate a service level agreement, SLA, with the external team to ensure timely delivery. B. Encourage the team to add extra buffer time to their estimates to account for the dependency. C. Facilitate a discussion with the external team's lead to understand the root cause and explore solutions. D. Advise the product owner to reprioritize the product backlog to avoid items with external dependencies. Answer: C. Facilitate a discussion with the external team's lead to understand the root cause and explore solutions. As a servant leader, the Scrum Master's role includes removing impediments that hinder the development team's progress, and external dependencies are a common impediment. Rather than just managing the symptom, like adding buffer or avoiding items, the most proactive and effective approach is to address the root cause directly by facilitating communication and collaboration with the external team. For instance, the Scrum Master might arrange a meeting to understand their workflow, capacity, and how their processes impact the current team, then work collaboratively to find a mutually beneficial solution, such as aligning schedules or establishing clearer communication channels. This aligns with the Agile principle of promoting direct communication and resolving issues collaboratively. Question 10. A team is experiencing frequent defects reported by users after product releases, despite having a comprehensive definition of done that includes testing. The defects are often due to integration issues between different components developed by various team members. What is the most effective Agile practice to mitigate this issue? A. Increase the amount of manual end-to-end testing before release. B. Implement continuous integration with automated tests. C. Assign a dedicated quality assurance (QA) team member to each feature. D. Conduct more thorough code reviews by senior developers. Answer: B. Implement continuous integration with automated tests. Continuous integration, CI, is a foundational Agile engineering practice where developers frequently integrate their code into a shared repository, often several times a day. Each integration is verified by an automated build and automated tests, allowing for early detection of integration errors and defects. For example, if a developer integrates a new component, and an automated test immediately fails due to an incompatibility with another component, the issue is caught and fixed quickly, rather than surfacing as a defect much later during user acceptance testing. This practice significantly reduces the risk of integration issues and ensures the software remains in a releasable state, making it far more effective than relying solely on manual testing or individual code reviews. Question 11. During a sprint, a key stakeholder approaches a development team member directly with a new, critical requirement and asks them to implement it immediately, bypassing the product owner. How should the development team member respond in accordance with Scrum principles? A. Implement the requirement immediately to satisfy the stakeholder's urgent need. B. Inform the stakeholder that all new requirements must go through the Scrum Master. C. Politely direct the stakeholder to the product owner, explaining that the product owner manages the product backlog. D. Add the requirement to the sprint backlog and discuss it at the next daily Scrum. Answer: C. Politely direct the stakeholder to the product owner, explaining that the product owner manages the product backlog. In Scrum, the product owner is the single point of contact for managing the product backlog, prioritizing work, and representing stakeholder needs to the development team. Bypassing the product owner disrupts the team's focus, compromises the sprint goal, and undermines the product owner's authority and responsibility for maximizing value. The development team member should politely but firmly redirect the stakeholder to the product owner, explaining that new requirements need to be prioritized by the product owner to ensure they align with the product vision and overall value delivery. This maintains the integrity of the Scrum framework and prevents uncontrolled scope changes within a sprint. Question 12. A newly formed Agile team is struggling with self-organization, team members wait for instructions, are hesitant to pick up tasks, and conflicts are avoided rather than resolved. What is the most effective approach for the Scrum Master to foster self-organization? A. Assign tasks to individuals during the daily Scrum to ensure all work is covered. B. Implement a strict process for conflict resolution and task assignment. C. Coach the team on Agile values and principles, encouraging shared responsibility and proactive problem solving. D. Report the team's lack of initiative to senior management to request intervention. Answer: C. Coach the team on Agile values and principles, encouraging shared responsibility and proactive problem solving. Self-organization is a cornerstone of Agile teams, meaning they determine the best way to accomplish their work rather than being directed by external parties. When a team struggles with this, the Scrum Master's primary role is to coach and facilitate, not to manage or assign tasks. This involves patiently guiding the team to understand the Agile values of courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness, and the principles of self-organizing teams. For example, the Scrum Master might pose open-ended questions like, "Who thinks they can pick this up?" or "How can we collectively solve this?" encouraging them to identify tasks, resolve conflicts themselves, and take collective ownership of their work. Question 13. An Agile team's velocity has been highly inconsistent over the past few sprints, fluctuating significantly from one sprint to the next. The team uses story points for estimation. What is the most likely root cause of this inconsistency? A. The team is not accurately estimating story points, leading to skewed velocity calculations. B. External dependencies are frequently disrupting the team's planned work. C. The definition of done is not consistently applied across all sprint backlog items. D. Team composition frequently changes, impacting team cohesion and knowledge sharing. Answer: D. Team composition frequently changes, impacting team cohesion and knowledge sharing. Velocity is a measure of the amount of work a team can accomplish in a given sprint, and it is a team-specific metric. Frequent changes in team composition, such as members joining or leaving, significantly impact team cohesion, communication, and overall productivity. When a new member joins, there's a ramp-up period, and knowledge transfer takes time, which can temporarily reduce velocity. Conversely, losing an experienced member can also reduce output. This instability makes it difficult for the team to establish a predictable pace and consistently estimate work. A stable team is crucial for predictable velocity and continuous improvement. Question 14. A product development project is underway using an agile approach. Mid-project, market research reveals a significant shift in customer preferences, rendering several planned features obsolete and introducing new, higher priority needs. What action should the product owner take first? A. Inform the stakeholders that the project scope must be renegotiated to include the new features. B. Immediately update the product backlog, reflecting the new priorities and removing obsolete items. C. Cancel the current sprint and initiate a new sprint planning with the updated requirements. D. Schedule an emergency meeting with the development team to discuss the feasibility of implementing the new features in the current sprint. Answer. B. Immediately update the product backlog, reflecting the new priorities and removing obsolete items. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog. When significant market shifts occur, the product owner's primary responsibility is to quickly adapt the product backlog to reflect these new realities and ensure the team is always working on the most valuable items. This involves reprioritizing existing items, adding new ones, and removing obsolete ones. While this may eventually lead to discussions about sprint adjustments or scope, the immediate and most crucial step is to ensure the product backlog accurately represents the current understanding of value. This ensures transparency and provides the development team with the most current guidance on what to build next. Question 15. A team is practicing extreme programming, XP, and has embraced pair programming. A new team member expresses discomfort with pair programming, preferring to work alone, believing it's more efficient for them. How should the team respond to this situation? A. Allow the new team member to work alone to respect their preference and maximize individual efficiency. B. Require the new team member to engage in pair programming to ensure adherence to XP practices. C. Explain the benefits of pair programming and encourage them to try it, while also offering support and feedback. D. Ask the Scrum Master to mediate and assign the new team member to tasks that do not require pairing. Answer. C. Explain the benefits of pair programming and encourage them to try it, while also offering support and feedback. In Agile teams, especially those practicing XP, collaboration and shared ownership are key, and practices like pair programming are adopted for specific benefits like knowledge sharing, continuous code review, and improved code quality. Rather than strictly enforcing or immediately giving up on the practice, the best approach is to educate the new team member on why pair programming is beneficial, e.g., faster bug detection, better design, shared knowledge, reduced individual burnout, and encourage them to experience its advantages. For example, the team could suggest trying it for short periods with different partners and offering constructive feedback to help them adjust, reinforcing the Agile value of embracing change and continuous learning. Question 16. The product owner frequently asks the team to commit to delivering more features than their historical velocity indicates is possible during sprint planning, leading to unfinished work at the end of sprints. What is the most effective way for the Scrum Master to address this pattern? A. Facilitate a discussion during sprint planning to remind the product owner of the team's historical velocity and discuss realistic commitments. B. Coach the team to push back on the product owner's demands and commit only to what they believe is achievable. C. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor, highlighting the product owner's unrealistic expectations. D. Ask the product owner to reprioritize the product backlog more aggressively to reduce the number of items. Answer. A. Facilitate a discussion during sprint planning to remind the product owner of the team's historical velocity and discuss realistic commitments. The Scrum Master serves the product owner in various ways, including helping them find techniques for effective product backlog management and ensuring sprint planning is productive. If the product owner consistently overloads the sprint, the Scrum Master's role is to facilitate understanding of the team's capacity and help the product owner make informed decisions based on empirical data, like historical velocity. For example, during sprint planning, the Scrum Master can visualize the team's velocity trend and facilitate a conversation about how much work the team can realistically pull into the sprint without compromising quality or increasing unfinished work, guiding the product owner towards a more realistic commitment. Question 17. A team is consistently struggling to complete the work they committed to during sprint planning, often carrying over several unfinished items to the next sprint. This leads to frustrated stakeholders and demotivated team members. What is the most important concept or practice the team should reevaluate to improve predictability? A. Shorten the sprint length to create more frequent feedback loops. B. Improve the accuracy of their story point estimations. C. Ensure the definition of ready for product backlog items is consistently applied. D. Increase the size of the development team to handle more work. Answer: C. Ensure the definition of ready for product backlog items is consistently applied. The definition of ready, DOR, is a crucial concept that ensures product backlog items are sufficiently prepared and understood by the development team before they are pulled into a sprint. If items are not truly ready, e.g., lack clear requirements, acceptance criteria, or technical feasibility, the team will face significant impediments and unknowns during the sprint, leading to unfinished work. For example, if a user story pulled into a sprint isn't clear, the team might spend valuable time seeking clarification or rebuilding work, which directly impacts their ability to complete commitments. Consistently applying a clear DOR helps ensure the team is working on well-understood and actionable tasks, significantly improving their ability to commit realistically and complete work. Question 18. A project manager is trying to integrate Agile practices into a traditionally waterfall-oriented organization. Resistance is high, with concerns about loss of control, lack of documentation, and difficulty in long-term planning. Which Agile principle should the project manager emphasize most to address these concerns? A. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. C. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. D. Responding to change over following a plan. Answer: D. Responding to change over following a plan. The primary concern expressed by a waterfall-oriented organization about Agile often revolves around perceived loss of control and difficulty in long-term planning, which stems from their reliance on rigid, upfront planning. The Agile principle of responding to change over following a plan directly addresses this by highlighting that while planning is important, the ability to adapt and pivot in response to new information or market shifts delivers more value in complex environments. The project manager should explain that Agile doesn't mean no planning, but rather adaptive planning, where the plan evolves as more is learned, ultimately leading to a more relevant and successful product. For instance, explaining that frequent feedback loops allow for necessary adjustments, rather than rigidly adhering to an outdated plan, helps to alleviate concerns about loss of control and demonstrates how agility actually enhances success in dynamic markets. Question 19. A critical defect is discovered in a production system. The Agile team immediately swarms on the issue, working together to identify, fix, and test the solution. Which Agile principle or value does this behavior best exemplify? A. Self-organization. B. Transparency. C. Courage. D. Customer collaboration. Answer: A. Self-organization. Self-organization is a core Agile principle where empowered teams determine the best way to accomplish their work without external direction. When a critical defect arises, a self-organizing team doesn't wait for a manager to assign tasks or orchestrate the response. Instead, they collectively assess the situation, decide who needs to do what, and swarm on the problem to resolve it quickly, demonstrating their ability to manage themselves and adapt to emergent challenges. This proactive, collective problem-solving exemplifies self-organization, showing the team's shared ownership and commitment to their responsibilities. Question 20. A product owner is struggling to break down large, epic-level user stories into smaller, manageable, and valuable pieces that can fit within a single sprint. This often leads to incomplete features at the end of sprints. What technique should the product owner use to address this? A. Increase the sprint length to accommodate larger stories. B. Collaborate with the development team for product backlog refinement sessions. C. Use a fixed-price contract with the development team to incentivize faster delivery. D. Delegate the breakdown of stories to the most senior developer on the team. Answer: B. Collaborate with the development team for product backlog refinement sessions. Product backlog refinement is an ongoing activity where the product owner and development team collaborate to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. This is the ideal forum for breaking down large, epic-level user stories into smaller, more manageable ones that can be completed within a sprint. The development team's technical expertise is crucial here, as they can provide insights into how to logically split stories while maintaining their value and testability. For instance, if a story, implement user registration, is too large, the team might help break it into user can create account, user can verify email, and user can reset password, ensuring each piece delivers value. This collaboration ensures items are clear, understood, and sized appropriately for future sprints. Question 21. A project team is practicing Scrum, and during the daily Scrum, a team member consistently provides updates that are too detailed, going into lengthy explanations of technical challenges they are facing, which consumes too much time. How should the Scrum Master intervene? A. Politely remind the team member of the daily Scrum's timebox and purpose, and suggest discussing detailed technical issues offline. B. Allow the team member to continue, as it shows transparency and willingness to share challenges. C. Ask other team members to interrupt the speaker to keep the meeting focused. D. Schedule a separate daily technical review meeting to accommodate detailed discussions. Answer: A. Politely remind the team member of the daily Scrum's timebox and purpose, and suggest discussing detailed technical issues offline. The daily Scrum is a 15-minute time-boxed event for the development team to synchronize activities and plan for the next 24 hours, focusing on progress toward the sprint goal. It is not a problem-solving session or a detailed status meeting. The Scrum Master facilitates the event and ensures it remains within its timebox and purpose. When a team member goes into excessive detail, the Scrum Master should gently intervene by reminding them of the meeting's brevity and encouraging any detailed discussions or impediments to be taken offline immediately after the daily Scrum, involving only the relevant parties. This ensures the daily Scrum remains efficient and effective for the entire team. Question 22. A key Agile principle states, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. What is the most direct implication of this principle for an Agile team's approach to quality? A. Quality is ensured primarily through thorough end-of-project testing cycles. B. Quality is a non-negotiable aspect embedded throughout the development process. C. Quality is measured by the absence of defects reported by the customer post-release. D. Quality is balanced against speed of delivery, with speed often taking precedence. Answer: B. Quality is a non-negotiable aspect embedded throughout the development process. The Agile principle of early and continuous delivery of valuable software inherently demands that quality is built in at every step, not bolted on at the end. For software to be truly valuable, it must be fit for use and free of significant defects, otherwise, early delivery would just mean early delivery of a flawed product. Therefore, Agile teams integrate quality practices such as continuous integration, automated testing, frequent feedback loops, and a robust definition of done throughout the development cycle. For example, a team will write automated tests alongside new code, ensuring that the software is always working and maintaining a high level of quality from the outset. This ensures that every increment delivered is genuinely shippable and adds real value to the customer. Question 23. A project team is new to Agile and is struggling with the concept of collective code ownership. Team members are hesitant to modify code written by others, leading to knowledge silos and slower progress when original developers are unavailable. What is the best way for the Scrum Master to promote collective code ownership? A. Implement strict coding standards and extensive documentation so anyone can understand the code. B. Assign specific code modules to individual developers to maintain accountability. C. Encourage practices like pair programming, mob programming, and frequent code reviews. D. Organize cross-training sessions for developers to learn different parts of the code base. Answer: C. Encourage practices like pair programming, mob programming, and frequent code reviews. Collective code ownership is a cornerstone of Agile, ensuring that all team members feel responsible for the entire code base, not just the parts they wrote. This practice increases resilience, spreads knowledge, and improves code quality. To foster this, the Scrum Master should encourage collaborative development practices that naturally lead to shared understanding and ownership. Practices like pair programming, 2 developers on one computer, mob programming, the entire team on one computer, and frequent code reviews actively involve multiple team members in different parts of the code, breaking down silos and building collective knowledge. For instance, pairing on a new feature immediately involves 2 people in its development and understanding, making the code less reliant on a single individual. Question 24. An Agile team decides to use a Kanban board in conjunction with their Scrum framework, primarily to improve flow and visualize bottlenecks within their sprint. Which artifact is this combined approach most directly intended to complement or enhance? A. Product Backlog. B. Sprint Backlog. C. Product Increment. D. Burn-down Chart. Answer: B. Sprint Backlog. When an Agile team uses a Kanban board within a Scrum framework, often called Scrumban, it primarily enhances the management and visualization of the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is the set of product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus the plan for delivering the product increment and realizing the sprint goal. A Kanban board visually represents the workflow steps the team uses to move sprint backlog items from to do to done within a sprint. For example, a team might have columns like ready for dev, in progress, ready for test, in test, and done, directly mapping to their sprint backlog items and showing their real-time progress and bottlenecks. This helps the team self-organize and adapt their daily work to achieve the sprint goal. Question 25. A product owner is struggling to prioritize the product backlog effectively, often focusing on what is easiest to build rather than what delivers the most business value. What concept or technique should the Scrum Master coach the product owner to understand and apply? A. Velocity. B. Definition of done. C. Cost of delay. D. Technical debt. Answer: C. Cost of delay. The cost of delay, COD, is a crucial concept in Agile that helps product owners prioritize by quantifying the economic impact of delaying a particular feature or project. It encourages focusing on what is most valuable to the business, rather than what is merely convenient to build. By understanding the financial consequences of not delivering a feature, e.g., lost revenue, increased operational costs, missed market opportunities, the product owner can make more informed, value-driven prioritization decisions, moving away from simply prioritizing based on ease of implementation. For example, delaying a critical regulatory compliance feature could lead to huge fines, making its cost of delay extremely high, even if it's complex to build. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner to consider this metric when ordering the product backlog.